So America, as Governor Andy Cuomo and President Donald Trump and all these other complete boob idiots are foaming at the mouth and ranting and raving about coronavirus, they use the Hudson River as an open sewer for municipalities all up and down the state of New York. And then, of course, they flush into Lake Champlain because Lake Champlain's a giant septic tank. Let's repeat this. The Trump administration, Donald Trump there from New York, are all carrying on about coronavirus, and all the experts in the CDC and the Health and Human Services Department and on and on and on and on and on are all flipping out with the news media over this coronavirus while they use Lake Champlain as a giant open septic tank, flushing all the sewage leachate from the brown fields all around Lake George, New York. The septic tanks all around Lake George, New York drain into Lake George, and then, of course, every year they do this giant lake flushing thing where they lower the water in Lake George to make room for as much fresh water as they can allow into the lake. So yeah, coronavirus is a great big huge freaking scare while these waterways are being used for open sewers. How about that, Andy Cuomo? You got a comment, my old friend? And let's get the Department of Environmental Conservation of Basal Sagos and the Vermont Department of Environmental Conservation and all these environmental groups, all these environmentalists. Let's talk about how sewage is just vastly dumped into the Hudson River, into the St. Lawrence River, into Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior. Coronavirus and open sewers into America's public waterways. What do you think about that, America? Isn't that odd? Isn't that just a little bit odd? Donald Trump and Mr. Mike Pence, maybe Mike Pence wants to take a shot at this one. Come on, Mike. Let's talk about how America's waterways are used as open sewers for these municipal sewer treatment plants that have overflows and spillage and partially treated sewage that gets dumped into all of America's waterways. And we're worried about a infectious, communicable disease called coronavirus. You people are so full of absolute you-know-what, it's not even funny. Let's get the Environmental Protection Agency and let's see the Army Corps of Engineers and, the CDC, and let's discuss the open sewers of America. Lake Champlain is a very good example, and if you think I'm kidding around in this video, check out the links down below. Look at all the photographs of Lake Champlain and ask yourself, how many of America's waterways are used for these municipal sewer plants to dump their partially treated sewage into America's waterways, and all kinds of other industrial and military and commercial contaminants and pollutants. Mike Pence, you want to take a stab at this one, Donald Trump? And while we're at it, let's get Joe Biden. Come on, Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, let's talk about the open septic tank, Lake Champlain, and the coronavirus. Let's put them in the same sentence, Bernie Sanders. Now, folks, all my friends up around Lake George who've been following this dust up with the state authorities over all the septic tanks, the brown fields of Lake George, and all the sewage in the brown fields around the Great Lakes. The Moses Sanders Dam and the giant flushing, the flushing of the Great Lakes that goes on every year into the St. Lawrence Seaway. And I'll guarantee you what, those great big ocean-going container ships, they're dumping sewage all over the place. And then, of course, Donald Trump and Mike Pence, they're taking all of America's garbage on garbage barges, and they're taking it offshore and they're dumping it in our coastal waterways. Garbage, folks. I mean, you know, medical waste and every other thing they can put on a garbage barge and take it offshore and dump it in the ocean. And we're all flipping out over coronavirus. Yeah. So Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Andy Cuomo, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden. Let's have a discussion about coronavirus and the way that America's waterways are used as giant sewage and septic tanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it right there. And as always, hasta la vista, God bless, and you betcha we're coming back.